Pong, pong. Haven't heard that sound in a while. Hey guys, this is BB, or as most of you know me as Bio, and thank you for 3,000 people, I guess. I don't really know how to do this, but I just wanted to make something special because, well, first and foremost, I apologize because English is my, well, technically it is, but I am not a native English speaker, although it is my first language. Point is, lots of celebrations. Well, mainly just free. 3 years in Patreon and 3,000 people. Should I say followers? They just, the word followers is kind of weird. 3 years and 3,000 people. I don't know. I guess I just like the number 3. Which is why I thought this would be a good occasion to, let's be real, this is just an excuse to make a video with my face in it. On to the questions. For those of you who don't know what's happening, I posted in several sites desperately asking for questions about, well, anything, because I don't even know what the point of this is. Take 2. I've been posting around some sites, asking for questions, and well, here they are. Well, technically, it's only been 2 years since I started in May 2016. Oh, forget about that. I'm terrible at math. For those who aren't interested in this pudgy face, believe me, I know how you feel. So I'll be putting in my Connor fan art time lapse as promised. First question comes from the lovely Erin / Memory Palace of Will Graham. Shout out to you because you are definitely one of the first people I found on the Hannibal community. So thank you so much for supporting my work and sticking around for as long as you have. Okay. Erin says, questions. When did you start creating art? What is your favorite piece you have made? Why? What fandoms are you especially interested in the moment? Why is Connor so wonderful and good? I've fallen in love with DBH and Connor and Hank/Connor. So I am really excited for your Connor fan art video. Thank you. But really, it's not. As much as I love making these fan art videos, well, it's not something I like to hype up a lot. I just like making videos. And I apologize for the noise. Let's flip the image first. Okay. I'm just gonna magically reverse everything in my face. Is that obvious? Is it obvious that it's flipped? Your hair just kind of knows when things are not the way they are supposed to be. That is not English. No. Started creating art around, well, the earliest memory I have is of 4th grade. Again, I'm sorry for the background noise. Started creating art around the 4th grade. I was actually inspired by my I was inspired by my best friend named Hillary, who I'm hoping I can show somewhere around. If there's still enough space in this video, I'm hoping to show around here. I started creating art specifically when she somewhat inspired me to draw dresses with those pens that have 4 colors. I don't know. I'm not the best at memory, but my earliest memory of creating art was with that special pen thing, and I was drawing clothes. Believe me, I'm not a great designer, but I loved her so much, and she inspired me so much that one day I just decided to do something completely new, and I never stopped doing it. question. What is your favorite piece you have made? Uh, that is... that's a difficult question. Okay, pause. I guess the piece that comes to mind the quickest is... I hope some people don't hate me for this, but it's actually the piece I made about the death of the 12th Doctor from Doctor Who. And just in line with that, because I'm not really good at favoritism, just in line with that is the Will Graham set from Hannibal. Hannibal. Oh, why? Oh, starting with the Doctor Who I Let You Go fan art. It kind of marked a little goal of mine. It was probably it was the second piece or real digital painting piece I did on my old laptop with this old tablet that is currently in a coma. Okay, let's be real, it's dead. But yeah, one of the things I've always wanted to do is get my own tablet and just paint my days away digitally. And um, that piece felt like a milestone. Of course, it wasn't the first one. It wasn't the first thing I drew, the first thing I painted with the tablet, which brings in the Will Graham set. The Will Graham set is very special and dear to my heart because one, Hannibal, and two, um, the initial idea for it began like years ago, right before I had to adult. That's a terrible way of saying it, but yeah. And the part of me is actually pretty glad that I never finished it in the first time I thought about it, because I think if it weren't for the years that went by in the middle, I wouldn't have improved as much as I have. It's always a philosophy of mine that no matter what happens, you'll still be able. You're still learning every day. You're still improving every day. So I'm glad that I never got to fully flesh out the idea the first time I got the idea. And honestly, the results of that entire set was kind of unexpected. I was just pretty much just figuring out, feeling. Is that how they? Is that how painters say it? I was just feeling the piece, just sketching, and then I had the eyedropper tool as a best friend that day, or those days. But being able to paint, I know that there's this thing about artists and their materials. It's kind of an iffy situation, but yes, as much as I love using traditional media and just coloring with the mouse, this is the new mouse, by the way. This is Jerry 2.0, and being able to use a tablet was a new and fun experience, which well, I'm not needing anymore, but I hope I get to feel again. But hey, yeah, who knows? Maybe it'll happen again. What fandoms are you especially interested in the moment? Hey, Detroit, become human. Well, I never really find myself interested in the fandoms particularly. I'm because fandoms have always felt like the bonus side of liking things, series, people. Like, for example, Hannibal was just a show that I found one day through Tumblr, through through a post that wasn't even supposed to be about Hannibal. But point being, when I found the series of Hannibal, I wasn't immediately thinking, ooh, I want to go to the fandom and see what everybody else is thinking. Uh, it was just pure luck that I discovered Tumblr, or I managed to build up the guts to um, build up the guts to open myself up to, enough with the Hannibal puns, to explore the world a little more. One day I was just searching the Hannibal tag on Tumblr and then found some blogs that felt like were great Hannibal blogs, and then kind of just scaled up from there, and which I'm eternally grateful for, because until now, how many years has it been? It's been 4 years or 5. Shit, it's been that long. But in terms of actual fandoms, well, interested isn't exactly the word I'm going to use for it, but the Jacksepticeye community is actually very, very what's the best word to describe it? They're they're so warm, and I like warm things. They're sweet, and I like sweet things. And it was thanks to the Jacksepticeye community, or mainly Jack himself, that I found Detroit Become Human. So, I guess yeah. If we're talking about fandoms, just the Fanables and the JSE community. I mean, when you're part of the Jacksepticeye community, you're technically also part of the Markiplier fandom and, well, general YouTube audience, but Jacksepticeye community in general. Why is Connor so wonderful and good? Oh, I don't know, but I'm just glad he is. No, but seriously, I haven't played DBH, and I'm pretty sure I won't be able to in the near future. But just by watching Jack's playthrough, I at first I really thought that Kara wasn't going to be my immediate favorite character, and she still is. But the way they built up Connor's own character, how it developed over time, and comparing to both Marcus and Kara. I mean, Jack had a point that uh, the Blade Runner mystery aspect elevated it, but at the same time, what really got me into Connor was how the character was developed, not not all the references. I like, and the thing about this game is that I like how it's just the trees are so branchy, if that makes any sense. Hey, not exactly rich, so I'll just stick to watching playthroughs for the time being. I would like to know your thoughts about RK900, if anyone's willing to chime in. The game may be over, but the story isn't. We have so much to talk about. Like, completely out of topic, but one of the names I imagine for RK900 is either Conan or K9. You know, as in RK900, K9, or just 9, actually. 9. I like the word 9. I like the name 9. Also, yes, Hank slash Connor. My babies. Little change in scenery. Honey bunny, honey bunny, honey, Hannibal, Hannibal. Hanni-bunny-lecter says, okay, so I have a standard question set. How did you learn to draw, and how long have you been doing it? What is your favorite technique, digital art or traditional? What was the first fandom you made art for? And also, are you planning to make a longer DBH comic like the one with Merwill? Hmm. For starters, that was one heck of a roller coaster. But okay, one by one. All right. How did you learn to draw, and how did I learn how to draw, and how long have I been doing it? I pretty much learned how to draw by self study. It's not a impressive story. I started by simply copying things. I remember back then that the first the very first drawings I were proud of where these I don't know if I can find them and show you, but they were drawings I made around the third grade of Disney princesses, believe it or not. Oh wait. Oh wow. No, 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 no. Was it third grade? No, I'm slightly confused. Okay. The thing that really inspired me back then to draw was the time I got inspired by by my best friend. But now I'm starting to remember, see memory. Anyway, I used to draw a lot. Uh, the memory that stands out to me the most is using how to draw manga books as most people did. I started out liking anime first and foremost. Back in the day of when Naruto was just Naruto and not Naruto Shippuden, and anime was the life. But yeah, the roots were how to draw manga. But I will admit that some of my style, some of my roots date back more to the Witch magazine, WITCH. I don't even know if it's still going or not. I used to um, trace a lot. I mean, just as a kid, I hope you'll forgive me back then because that's what I used to do. But yeah, I remember who. Oh no, I forgot their names. Will, Irma, Tarani, Cornelia, Haylin. Yes, I clearly remember. Just one day tracing Haylin and being so damn proud of myself, even though it was just traced. Anyway, yeah, I've been pretty much doing it since for as long as I can remember, and I pretty much learned how to draw by myself. I mean, okay, if it weren't for the fact that my mom gifted me a lot of these how to draw books, thank you, mom, God bless. Yeah, I wouldn't have, I wouldn't be doing what I love to do today. Okay, what is your favorite technique, digital art or traditional? Both. I cannot decide between either of them. I grew up in the age of color pencils and MS Paint, but yeah, it's pretty much the reason why until now I still like drawing comics traditionally and then coloring that all digitally, or even with normal pieces, fan art pieces. I still like doing 50-50 traditional and digital. Do I move my head a lot? I think I move my head a lot. I do. What was the first fandom you made art for? Um, well, I don't consider myself super. Um, Technically, the first fandom I really became a part of was the Fandoms, but if we're really stretching it out, probably Italia, Access Powers Italia, back then. Because I never really became part of the fandom, but I remember a lot of my classmates in high school was addicted to that silly little anime. But yeah, if we're talking about fandom art, Italia was definitely the first one. I didn't know that much of the Naruto community or the Avatar Legend of Aang community or Clamp community or whatever. But yeah, if it's not Hannibal, it's Axis Powers Italia. And also, are you planning to make a longer Detroit Become Human comic? Hmm. I will be honest. The, f- the main reason why I made Patreon, the very first time I thought about it, was to make more comics. I mean, the secondary goal was pretty much to do the things I love doing, which also included fan art pieces or just art pieces in general, or even videos like this. But I mean, I still do. But with this job and family and life in general, making these comics has become definitely much harder. I but one of the ideas I had back then for a Hannibal comic that I never really got around to doing anymore was making an entire series of just Tiny Will or Tiny Hannibal, if anybody still remembers that. And even the first time I discovered this Detroit Become Human, making a Tiny Connor or Tiny Marcus or Tiny Kara comic was immediately in my head as well. That's, I have a thing with tiny things, I guess. But again, I don't want to get people's hopes up. But comics were definitely my first love. And who knows? Let's just see. J Swing 96 from Tumblr asks, let's see, fave character from Detroit, fave ships in DBH, fave fanfics in DBH. Any of these, I guess, I don't know. Oh, you opened up a can of worms. Important bits first. Um, Favorite character from Detroit, without a doubt, is Connor. My plastic son, Connor. The android sent by Cyberlife. It's just, it's without a doubt Connor. And then, okay, favorite ships in DBH. Of course, I'm pretty sure everybody, well, not, of course not, no. You can ship who you want, ship who you ship. But if we're going for which one, in terms of really the favorites, I'm not really good with favorites, but above all, I definitely love Hank and Connor, Hank slash Connor, um, even if it's a father-son relationship or the actual lovey-dovey and a lovey-dovey relationship. I like both. Then next to that, is it weird? Okay, this might sound weird, but I like shipping Connor with RK900. I know they're the same people, well, same faces, but self-cessed. That is a thing. Well, no, it's not self-cessed if they're different. But okay, I like con. Is that what they call it? Next to that, which is something I don't see that much of, and don't see many fanfics of just yet. Well, I've seen one at least. Is Marcus and Simon. Um, I'm not even sure if it's real or not, but I read somewhere that Simon was canonically even before um, even before Marcus um, ended up with North. Anytime I saw Marcus with Simon, I immediately go, yes. But uh, you can imagine my reaction when I heard, or I don't know, I could be wrong, but you can imagine my reaction when I heard that Simon was actually canonically in love with Marcus. And my mind is just like, all right, where was that option? And I don't like being salty. I pretty much forgave them already. But I'm pretty sure if I had the choice, if I had the game, I would make the active choice not to end up with North and to make sure Simon lives. Favorite fan fictions in DBH. All right, I have a list. 1 second. Um, and I don't remember the last time I talked about fan fiction verbally, vocally. Sorry. This feels a little awkward, but also exciting. I'm gonna please. Another subtle change in scenery. Katasaurus-rex asks, I don't know if I have any questions. Maybe after Marvel is over, if you plan on doing another Hannibal or slash AU long form comic. Again, I don't want to bring anybody's hopes up, but I want to. I really do want to. I mean, along with the other comics I've already had planned, I have so many, well, not many now, not really many now, but I do have my ideas, and I really do want to try and do something else that's also Hannibal related after Merle. But again, don't want to get people's hopes up, and I would rather focus first on finishing Merle, then we can talk about other stuff. But thank you for asking. Even until now, Merle still feels a little bit unreal. The fact that an alternate universe of the main guy turning into a merman exists, and I am the one who made it. It's still pretty unreal to me sometimes that I managed to do this with the help of you guys, definitely. So thank you so much for supporting the comic or liking the comic for as long as you have. Thank you. Time check. It is now 4:39 a.m. And quick lightning round. Do you have any favorite ships from the series? Hank slash Connor, Marcus and Simon. How do you feel about Bryan Dechart, the guys who plays Connor, being the biggest fan of it? Absolutely. Respect. How do you feel about the series plot host? More specifically, what the fuck specifically is RA9? Well, last time I checked, RA9 is supposed to be the android's version of heaven or God or whatever. It's technically well, I could be wrong. I could definitely be wrong. But, well, based on what I found in the wiki, RNI is supposed to like symbolize their own religious belief, right? In a way. I mean, some people say that RA9 could be referring to Marcus himself, but RA9 could also be referring to a place or just a state of being. I don't know. We'll never know. Maybe. Why was Cole's name such an obscure detail if it was so important to the good ending of the game? Um, I'm not even okay. I can't exactly say anything because I've never played the game. But huh. I guess it's a matter of hmm. In a way, I guess looking through the developer's point of view, you had Hank's home would have been a pretty big stepping stone for Connor. So being able to find out Cole's name while in that vicinity would make would very be I can't English would be very possible at least unless you were Jack that spent a lot of time. Actually, I'm pretty sure if I played the game, I'd probably be doing the same thing because explore I'd like to explore my surroundings first before trying to progress the story. But because DBH had that system where time still progresses while you explore around, which is good, I think. It's realistic. But yeah, I guess we get so used to games to just being, you know, you technically have the choice to sort of pause and resume the game just by not doing anything. But in that case, yes, all right. If it does sound obscure to you, then okay, I can see why. But to me personally, I don't see it as obscure. And if I ever make the same mistake as Jack does, then I guess it will only make sense. Uh, sorry. How did the other android and the other border lane make it out in the end of Kara's story? Okay, shit. I haven't seen all the endings yet. Okay. If you're talking about the ending where they managed to get out of the okay, no, they get captured in Jericho, Kara, and um Alice. Whoa, I can't believe I almost forgot her. Then the only endings I've seen with Kara and Alice and Luther getting um being taken from Jericho is the ending where they actually died or the ending where they actually survived. I'm not exactly sure which other android you're referring to. So I'm not sure. Why is Luffy so damn big? I don't know, but I'm just glad he is. A big, big, dark marshmallow. Why did no one report that Connor's Cyberlife break-in resulted in casualties? I mean, it was technically wasn't it just two guards? Okay, well that's still casualty, yeah. But good point. That's a good point. Why is Marcus a prototype? Prototype what? What is Connor a prototype of? Actually, okay. My own personal theory is that Connor prototype, uh, Connor, Marcus, even Chloe, and is Kara a same prototype? Are they are they part of the same? Okay, I forgot. But if they are, then that would make things easier because it was kind of always a part of my theory that the RK series. Wait, Kara isn't RK, right? Kara RK. Anyway, it was always my theory that the RK series, well, also including Chloe, they were kind of like originally designed to their main objective is to what's the right word for it? Fidelity, I guess. Being able to think on their own, actual progressive AI, unlike other androids that were probably already. I mean, okay. The main reason why I thought about this theory is because, well, one, uh, okay, in my head, I sort of headcanon that Chloe and Marcus and Connor knew each other. At least by some point, they would probably be like siblings to each other because, with Chloe being the eldest, Marcus being the middle child, and Connor being no. Marcus being the middle child, and Connor being the youngest. And because there's a lot of time before the actual game began that isn't shown, and it's safe to assume that right before Marcus ended up with Carl, Connor ended up with Hank, and Chloe just multiplied. They were pretty much all made by Kamsky himself, right? So there must have been some time that they spent together. I hope. I hope. Why wasn't Connor recalled and destroyed in the uprising? Actually, I think he must have. In the bad ending, technically, I mean, if we're to assume that, um, depends on which ending you're referring to, I think, because there is also the, but I guess it would make sense why Connor wasn't recalled. I mean, in the end, there's the ending that he's replaced by RK900. So isn't that sort of kind of the same thing? Called replaced? Or maybe it's worse. I'm not sure. Why did no one notice Connor's tracker turned off when he deviated? I guess maybe they did and they just. Oh, yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point. Huh. They didn't even think of that. Not bad, not bad. Was all of Cyberlife in on Amanda's plan? Okay, I probably missed something because I'm not sure what Amanda's plan is. Are you referring to just destroying all the? Okay, I probably should. Okay, full disclosure, I'm not exactly sure what you're referring to when you say Amanda's plan. Why was Hank allowed to stay in Detroit after the evacuation when the androids were free? Because because he was part of the police force. I mean, logically, it might make more sense if the police force or any special ops would stay during the evacuation. I mean, if we're to assume that this is the good ending, this is the good ending, and the government or the people are in good terms with the androids, then I assume that at least the police and other special ops would be staying. I hope. Are there even spare parts in Canada? Ooh, good question. No, I don't even think of that. Huh. Maybe okay. I mean, there's still the ability to order online, but that would also be pretty fishy. Why would you order Android parts to a country that doesn't even have Androids? That's okay. That's actually a pretty good loophole. I mean, it's not a loophole. That's actually a pretty good problem. Huh. I'm guessing maybe even Kara didn't think that mattered. I think that Kara thought that no matter what happened, even if there aren't any spare parts in Canada, it's still getting there still mattered because their freedom mattered more than their lives. Well, no. Their short-term survival mattered more than their long-term one. Or maybe, I mean, their entire Kara, Alice, and Luther's adventure was pretty much just an entire string of improvising, in a way. Yeah, Kara's really good at that, and I think even though there won't be spare parts in Canada, or there aren't. I mean, I think she managed to find some other way. Where does Connor go at night? I kind of assume that he just goes to a pod where he just gets in, closes the glass door, and then just goes to sleep. As in sleep mode, not go to sleep. In Cyberlife, of course. Maybe he has a certain place in Cyberlife that's specifically designated for him, and we just don't know about it. But either way, uh, I'm actually. I think it's a good idea to not tell the audience where Connor goes at night, because at least that leaves us to imagine where he does go. In the end, now that, uh, I mean, depending on which ending you get, at least in the good ending, we can probably assume that, well, hopefully we can assume that he, or at least Hank, could open his doors for Connor. If androids can't change body temperature, how could Kara feel that Alice had a fever? I think, well, according to, again, I could be wrong. I could very be wrong. But Alice's model specifically could simulate different changes in temperature, which pretty much tricked Kara the entire time. She could adjust, Alice Alice's programming could adjust her temperature to simulate an actual child. I mean, it's pretty much the point of her model to be taken care of. I think. Again, I could be wrong, so please don't quote me on this. Will Cyberlife be shut down? Actually, from a business standpoint, I think that Cyberlife still has potential to stay up. Like, unless there's any competitors for Android spare parts, then I think Cyberlife still has some chance of redeeming themselves. If Cyberlife is able to, I don't know, state a public apology for doing what they did, or planning to do what they did to the androids, and sort of just make a deal with them and start, um, if the androids get their rights in to property, then Cyberlife could technically just shift their attention to manufacturing spare parts for the androids, and then they'd still be able to do business in some way. Sure, okay, potentially Cyberlife could be shut down. I feel so if the androids so chose, but I mean, it depends on Marcus and which Marcus you're playing as. Personally, if Marcus, good leader, good messiah, Android Jesus, was the one you were playing as, I would feel that even he would go for the strategy. Even he would give mercy to Cyberlife in some way. As long as, I mean, technically this is just bad publicity to humans in the end. And pretty much, if you have the good ending, at least Madam President would still have your back, or still have Marcus's back. But if it's the bad ending, or the bad Marcus you're playing as, then you have no hope. Are there uprisings in other countries? Possibly, maybe, I guess. I mean, yeah. I mean, if it's happening in one place, it should be happening in another, or it could be happening in another. What the hell is the word predicting supercomputer? Someone theorized it was the player, and the game was a simulation. Wait. Okay, first of all, that sounds like a good theory, but just in the beginning of the game, I do remember Chloe. Okay, either she's pretending, or Chloe. The first time you meet Chloe in the startup menu, she looks around like that and comments about your house, or comments about your whatever is at the back of your living quarters, and say, "Ooh, it's so much like you." And I think that kind of defeats that theory, but at the same time, it does actually kind of, it sounds interesting. I'll try to read more into it if I can. Last question. Why did Kara ignore the fact that Alice was an android? I think it was more, in situations like this, I think it's pretty easy to say that she ignored it, but in my head, even though, okay, it's pretty cheesy the way they revealed it, it was pretty predictable, like, even I saw it coming, but it was pretty obvious that it was saw it coming, but I guess, I mean, haven't you had that feeling of wanting to believe in something so much that you just do, despite the facts? To me, that actually was the sure sign that Kara was about to be deviant because of the fact that she missed that, or she saw it and ignored it, and or maybe she saw it, didn't deem it as useful information, so she just put it in the back of her mind, at the very back, like the back of shelf. And in the end, I don't like to blame Kara for ignoring the fact that Alice was an android. I like to think that she was so desperate to take care of Alice the human, Alice the child, or have some semblance of humanity, or have some semblance of choice, basically. That and Alice being an android is just gone in her head. I hope that makes sense. Anyway, that is all for this Q&A. Thank you so much for all these questions. I'm sorry if because you can hear the rain. Um it's pretty rainy, slightly rainy. I hope you can. No, I don't hope you can hear it. Thank you again for 3,000 followers, 3 years in Patreon. I do hope that I can keep doing this because as much as well, okay, I don't depend on Patreon that much, but financially, but in terms of being able to do what I love, which is comics, art, and videos. Um, yeah, I'm pretty dependent on Patreon at this point. I hope, okay, maybe I don't even have to say this, but hopefully, um, maybe in 2 years' time, I'd very much like to focus on Patreon and Patreon alone. Okay, I'm not trying to get my hopes up, but this Patreon is probably one of the best decisions of my life. No joke. That sounds so cheesy, but yeah. If it weren't for Patreon and you people, you wonderful, wonderful people, I wouldn't have been able to finish. So I'll take that as a sign. It's actually 5 a.m. now. But anyway, okay. Thank you so much for sticking by everything I've done for you guys. Thank you for watching me stumble, fall, and I guess do my best to get up. Thank you for all these questions. And yeah, take care, everybody.